In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to factor high-degree polynomials, in this case a cubic, using the factor theorem. So let's get started. Completely factor the polynomial p of x is equal to x cubed plus 7x squared minus 10x minus 16 if we know that p of 2 is equal to 0. Now, using this equation, we're going to use the factor theorem to produce another factor. And why? Because this is a remainder of 0. So that means we have a factor of x minus 2. So if I took this polynomial and I divided it by this binomial, I get a remainder of 0, which means x minus 2 is a factor. So that is one factor that we have already, but we need to find the other ones. And one way to do that is to take p of x and divide by x minus 2 using synthetic or long division, whatever you're most comfortable with. So set up your division as follows. I'm going to use synthetic division in this example. Positive 2 comes out front, and what goes inside are the coefficients of your terms of p of x. Now, before you write your coefficients down, you got to make sure that all your terms are in descending order by degree, which they are. Also, that you have all the terms involved here, so we don't have any missing terms, so we don't need to use any placeholders. So that means my coefficients are 1, 7, negative 10, and negative 16. So let's go ahead and divide. Bring down the 1. 2 times 1 gives me a 2. 7 plus 2 is a 9. 2 times 9 is a positive 18. Negative 10 plus 18 gives me a positive 8. 2 times 8 gives me a positive 16. Now, if I add a negative 16 to a positive 16, I get a remainder of 0, which makes sense because we know that this binomial is a factor, so there should be no remainders. But we have produced another factor, and that factor comes from these three numbers. So if I was to write down my factorization so far, I have p of x is equal to x minus 2 times x to the power of 2 plus 9x plus 8. So once again, this factor came from the bottom row of your synthetic division. Okay, so at this point, you want to take a look at your polynomial. Are we in complete factored form? Well, let's take a look here. X minus 2, you can't do much with that, but take a look at this factor right here. We have an x squared plus 9x plus 8. So automatically, you should recognize that you might be able to factor it using PSA. So set up your chart as follows. Product is 8, sum is 9. My two numbers are 1 and 8, so it is factorable. So our complete factored form is going to be p of x is equal to x plus 1. Oh, I'm sorry about that. We'll write down x minus 2 times x plus 1, which came from right here from our PSA chart, times x plus 8. So this right here is the complete factored form of this polynomial. Now, if you ever wanted to check, the calculator is quite useful for that. So go to your calculator, go to your y equals screen, and what you're going to do is you're going to graph the original polynomial. So if I'm taking a look at the polynomial, it's x to the power of 3 plus 7x squared minus 10x, okay, and minus 16. Make sure you don't forget anything. So if I try to graph this, I'll use a zoom 6. It probably won't show everything. Okay, so as I thought, it doesn't show everything. So what you want to do is you want to extend your window. You're probably your y min and your y max. So let's go to your y min. Let's change it to a negative 100. So we show lots of values. 100. And oh, that didn't change here. Just give me a second. Negative 100. There you go. And positive 100. And try a scale of 10 for now. And let's check if that works. So press graph, and this should show the whole graph. There you go. So there is your cubic graph. Now to check if you factored it properly, plug in the factored form that you obtained. So our factored form that we got here was x minus 2 times x plus 1 and x plus 8. Now, if you factored it correctly, these two graphs must be the same. They must overlap each other. And to actually check that if that is indeed the case here, go all the way to the left here, change this curve so it looks a little thicker. There you go. So if we did it right, these graphs should overlap each other. So press graph. And take a look, we actually have the same graph. Another way you could check is if you check your table values. So let's look at the table values. Okay, so right on the left we have the x values, and then on the right we have y1, y2. Look at these two numbers here, they're the same. That's the same with over here, 120, 120 for here. So we have obtained the same graph, hence we have factored our polynomial correctly. So that is how you completely factor a polynomial using the factor theorem.